Hello and welcome to the Master's Assessment. Today I will be assessing the newest in Call of Duty games, Call of Duty Black Ops. Yes, well, this game, made by Treyarch, as was the 3rd and 5th, had its ups and downs. You know, I was just thinking that it had more of a focus on consoles rather than PC players, especially since, of all the issues with PC at the moment, which I'll be going into later. It takes place in the 60s and has an interesting storyline. So here we go on assessing Call of Duty Black Operations. Upon assessing the overall gameplay, there was nothing new to the game really than the firefights and, the rather fight or die style of firefights Treyarch likes to have in their game. With the constant spawning of enemies unless you actually take ground from them, that sort of thing. A few splices of something different every now and then, like shooting down a hind or blowing up a sampan. But other than that, nothing really amazing during firefights. However, in saying that, the game had a few good moments, rather than just shooting bad guys over and over and over again. For example, when you're in the rabbit holes, that was the first for a Call of Duty game, I thought. It was slightly more intense than the rest of the missions. This offered a side of Call of Duty we hadn't really seen before, especially in Treyarch games, as they like to have the open firefights all the time. And the missions where you're breaking out of the gulags in Russia, possibly my favourite mission, and only decent mission of the game. Some missions felt tacked on and half done, like the mission where you steal the hind, was basically just retarded to start with. What I like to refer as the deer hunter mission. You start off playing a suicide game and then you progress through the tunnels and you end up stealing this helicopter which is just sitting there, and then you take off, or you don't take off, your buddy takes off, then he hands over controls to you, and then you have a preset altitude and you've just got to keep your fingers down on the fire buttons. So, not too fun. Also, the camera movement made some of my friends feel nauseous. Not me, because I'm the master. Well, yes, I'm the master. In saying all that, it did have fast gameplay, but I felt that it was a bit too fast. I felt as if I was a small child, who had eaten a lot of sugar and not gone to bed. But it was always fun to have the flashbacks of the World War II and to see old favourites like Dmitri from number 5. Upon assessing the single player, I won't go too much into it because it is a rather long story packed into a short amount of time. Basically, you start in the Bay of Pigs. You know what an interesting part of history that was. If you don't know it, you should look it up because it's interesting. Alright, you play through this level, and before you know it, you've killed Castro, or who you think is Castro at the time. I, for one, was ready to put down the controller after this. Not just the fact that I'm an admirer of Castro's. I found that, it was this easy to kill a major leader of a country. What else was the game going to have me do? Go back in time and punch up Hitler? I mean, I just felt it was just a bit lazy writing, really. Anyway, as you jump around in this guy's memory and basically you end up having flashback missions and etc., I'd sum it up in saying that the whole storyline felt like Fight Club goes to war. Definitely not as good a storyline as Modern Warfare, but it was okay. The more I think about it, the more that I think it was alright. But it was another short campaign, but I really wouldn't have wanted to play for very much longer at all. I mean, yeah, some of those missions where you steal a hind and you go back to Vietnam. I'm not a fan of Vietnam. I felt like I was playing Medal of Honor Pacific Assault all over again. Upon assessing the multiplayer, I'll tell you the truth, I haven't really played multiplayer because I lack an Xbox Live account and it's still not working for PC properly. But I did see some other reviews and I saw things like Many Choices and the Bomb Car. They all look fun. The choices do seem a bit overwhelming for all the game styles you can have. And another big surprise that they had gun game. Now, most of the reviewers I've seen made a big deal about this, like as if it is a new sort of game and they've never heard of it before. But it's just a CS kind of rip-off, I guess, or borrowing or inspiration. But I bet you anything that the CS one is actually more fun. Assessing the graphics was very easy, and they were a massive letdown. As for all the hype, I'd say 2 steps backwards from Modern Warfare 2. I felt like I was trapped in a time warp and forced to suffer Quake 3 at some points. I even felt like I was in Medal of Honor again. Really nothing good to say about the graphics at all, until I can play it on PC with the graphics turned all the way up. I'm gonna give it a C-. A barely pass, but nevertheless a pass. Upon assessing a sound, I found it easy, as it was just another shooter game, you know, the regular gunshots and explosions and etc. Nothing new on the sound effects front, really. Some of the music choices were cool, the Rolling Stones and etc. But, you know, that comes with any 60s genre game. On a technical note, this was an utter failure. I mean, they forgot about PC users and just focused all on consoles, especially Xbox. I mean, you can't even play it on PC yet. You have to wait for them to patch it. I mean, TechDark couldn't even be bothered to look at the scripting and just change it for PC. So basically, you've got this game that just rapes your GPU and forgets all about your RAM and graphic card specs, and then just eventually crashes your game arbitrarily while playing. So, you know, it's just unacceptable. I mean, you don't buy a car and then wait a week or two before the dealership sends you the steering wheel, do you? Bad form, Treyarch. Bad form. The game overall had some good points, but mostly bad points. Mostly bad points. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh because I expected more, but then I remembered Treyarch made it. So, if I wanted something good to play, I shouldn't have spent money on this. And for all of you who haven't bought the game yet, I'd say just wait for a friend to finish it on his or her console and just borrow it from them. I mean, I wouldn't even bother buying it on PC, not for ages and ages. Probably not at all. And just a short shout out to Machinima's video game reviewer. I mean, were you bribed? Did you play the game? You seemed a bit biased. I mean, come on. The game wasn't that good as you made it out to be. Liar. Feel free to leave a comment below, and I shall assess it. Goodbye.